The crimson battlefield stretched endlessly across the planet's surface, littered with the twisted remains of both human and Zephyrian war machines. General Crixtal of the Zephyrian Empire stood triumphant, his forearms spread wide as he surveyed the carnage. His reptilian features twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. The humans had finally been defeated after 3 grueling years of war. But something nagged at him. 2 figures remained standing in the center of the battlefield, surrounded by the wreckage of humanity's last defense fleet. A male and female, both wearing strange masks that covered their entire faces. Smooth, featureless surfaces that reflected the alien sun like mirrors. "Surrender, humans," Crixtal commanded, his voice amplified by his armor's speakers as he approached with his elite guard. "Your species has fought valiantly, but this world is now ours." The male, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair visible around his mask, stepped forward slightly. "I am Ryan Mitchell, captain of the Earth Defense Corps. This is Emma Chen, our chief science officer." His voice was steady despite their dire circumstances. Emma stood beside him, her smaller frame belying the confidence in her posture. Through her mask's speaker, she added, "We're not here to surrender, General." Crixtal's secondary arms flexed in amusement. Defiant to the end, your species' stubborn nature was both your greatest strength and your ultimate downfall. He gestured to his soldiers. "Remove their masks. I wish to see the faces of the last humans before we claim this world." "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Emma said quietly. But Crixtal was already moving, his primary hand reaching for Emma's mask. His claws found purchase on the smooth surface, ready to tear it away like a trophy. "Wait!" Emma's voice cracked like a whip across the battlefield. "If that mask comes off, none of us will live. Not you, not your soldiers, not even us." The general froze, his hand still gripping her mask. "Explain yourself, human." Ryan's shoulders sagged slightly. "Emma, we have to," she interrupted. "General, what do you know about human biology?" Crixtal's eyes narrowed. "Enough to know you're a weak, short-lived species dependent on a narrow range of atmospheric conditions." "You're partially right," Emma said. "But you missed something crucial in your intelligence gathering. Something we've kept hidden for the entire war." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. "These aren't just masks, General. They're containment units." "Containment for what?" Emma's voice dropped to barely above a whisper, yet somehow carried clearly across the silent battlefield. "For what we really are." Ryan stepped closer to Emma, their shoulders touching. "The humans you've been fighting, General, the ones in your prisoner camps, the colonists on other worlds, they're the baseline. The normal ones. We," Emma continued, "are what happens when humans are exposed to the void between stars for too long, when they breathe the atmosphere of dying worlds, when they survive things that should kill them." Her head tilted slightly. "We are what humans become when they refuse to die." Crixtal's grip loosened slightly, but he didn't release the mask. "Impossible. Our scans showed you were the same species." "Your scans were right," Ryan said. "We are still human, but we're human adapted to conditions that would dissolve your exoskeleton in seconds. Human evolved to breathe gases that would turn your blood to acid. Human modified by exposure to radiation that would cook your organs from the inside." Emma's voice took on an almost conversational tone. "The atmosphere on this world? It's barely survivable for your species even with your armor. For baseline humans, it's toxic within minutes." She paused. "For us, it's like a gentle breeze compared to what we're used to." "The masks," Ryan explained, "don't protect us from your world. They protect your world from us." The general's 4 eyes widened as understanding dawned. "You're saying—" "I'm saying that if you remove my mask, General, the bacterial colonies that have learned to thrive in my lungs will be released into your atmosphere. Microorganisms that have adapted to consume radiation as food will find your soldiers' life signs." "Interesting." Emma's voice remained perfectly calm. "The viral loads that we carry, gifts from a dozen dead worlds, will spread faster than your medical corps can respond." Crixtal's hand began to tremble. "But you would die as well." "Eventually," Ryan acknowledged. "But we've been dying for years, General. Our baseline lifespan was sacrificed long ago for the ability to fight in places where death itself fears to tread." Emma added softly, "The question is, are you willing to sacrifice every living thing on this planet to see the face of a monster?" The battlefield had fallen into absolute silence. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. "General Crixtal, conqueror of 12 worlds, veteran of 100 battles, slowly released his grip on Emma's mask. He took a step backward, his elite guard instinctively moving with him. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice barely controlled. "Safe passage to our ship," Ryan said simply. "And for you to remember this moment the next time you consider what humanity is capable of." Emma nodded toward the horizon where a small, battered vessel waited. "We're the last of our kind, General. The final adaptation of a species that refused to accept limits." She began walking toward their ship, Ryan beside her. "But remember, if humanity could produce us once, who's to say they can't do it again?" As the two figures receded into the distance, Krixtal realized he had just learned the most terrifying lesson of his military career. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their courage. It was their willingness to become something else entirely, rather than surrender. The general watched until their ship disappeared into the alien sky, then quietly gave the order to evacuate the planet. Some victories, he decided, were too dangerous to claim.